فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب فإلى ربك فارغب لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فلا أقسم بالخنس الجوار الكنس والليل إذا عسعس والصبح إذا تنفس إنه لقول رسول كريم. ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين مطاع ثم أمين وما صاحبكم بمجنون ولقد رآه بالأفق المبين وما هو على الغيب بضنين. وما هو بقول شيطان رجيم فأين تذهبون إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين لمن شاء منكم أن يستقيم. وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد.
Thank you, brother, for that beautiful recitation. Can we have another loud salawat for him and his family, please?
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to our 6th English lecture in the month of Ramadan. So before I invite our respected speaker to the pulpit, can I please request everyone to please turn off your phones, turn them on mute, and can we also recite a Surah Fatiha for our sponsor for our niyaz tonight, Dr. Mehtab and his family. So please can we recite Surah Fatiha for him, please. Now I'd like to request our speaker, our respected speaker, Sheikh Nabil Awan, to the pulpit. Can we please welcome him with a loud takbir?
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Nara Risalat.
Ya Rasulullah.
Nara Risalat.
Ya Rasulullah.
Nara Haidari.
Ya Ali.
Haidari.
Ya Ali.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
मशरूतिये मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंदतर सलावत।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद।
मरीजों की शफाअत के लिए बुलंदतर सलावत।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद।
अपनी अपनी हजात की कबूलियत के लिए बुलंदतर सलावत।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद वअज्जिल फरज।
ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل
الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين بتراب مقدمه الفداء. ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم بالعمين. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of Yawm al-Rahmeen, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama al-Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahl al-Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa'ajjil farajah.
Yesterday we began our introduction to one of the main characteristics of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Ibrahim was Awwahun Halim, that Ibrahim was Halim, was an individual who had extreme forbearance. And we explained the difference between sabr and hilm, and sabr and kadhmul ghayb. So Ibrahim alayhi salam had this hilm, this extreme forbearance, not just patience in the face of trials and difficulties and in the face of bad akhlaq, but in reply to that, to do good to that person. So how is it that we can create hilm in our life? Because being halim, according to narrations, is one thing that makes a person aziz in the eyes of people, makes him honored in the eyes of the people, it makes him beloved in the eyes of the people. He has more friends, the one that is halim. Allah looks towards him kindly. All of these characteristics. So how is it that we become halim? this softness within ourselves. And there are a number of ways. Some are physical, some are spiritual, and some are just something that you would not even expect. When it comes to the physical things, when we look at the various foods that we eat and the times that we eat them and the amount that we eat, this has an impact upon our spiritual hearts. So the reason we feel so spiritually infused during the holy months of Ramadan is that an individual is hungry. The hunger that he feels, that then inspires a number of different characteristics or states within him. And so being hungry encourages certain states. So it says that the person that is accustomed to hunger will not worry about whether or not he is in poverty or whether he is in wealth. The one that is accustomed to hunger will never lie because he has no reason to lie. It is only the one that is always filling his belly that becomes accustomed to lying. But the one that is hungry won't. The one that is hungry will always have husn al-da'im in his heart, which is a long-lasting sorrow. This husn al-da'im, you see, the believer lives between two states, between khawf and raja, between fear and hope. Fear that what he hasn't done is enough to have Allah look at him favorably, but hope that Allah is so merciful that He will overlook it. But he's never full of hope, saying that I'm definitely going to Jannah, nor is he absolutely filled with fear, saying that there is no hope for me. The believer lives between both of these. And when he lives between both of these states, he develops within himself this huzn, this pain of separation from his beloved. And it is only the awliya of Allah on the outward, the mu'min, wajhul mumbasit, the mu'min is always smiling, he's always happy, his exterior is inviting to people, but inside his heart there is this huzn, there is this gham, there is this sorrow of separation from Allah, sorrow of not knowing whether what he has done, is it enough, will it be enough to bring him towards salvation or not, or indeed is his Lord happy with him or not. So this huzn al-da'im, fasting, being accustomed to hunger, creates this huzn within the heart of a person. It creates this long-lasting sorrow, which is one of the greatest sifat or characteristic that one can inculcate within themselves, this huzn of separation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So aside then from hunger itself, certain foods that a person eats affects the spiritual heart. The narration of the Holy Prophet is the one that eats meat constantly for 40 days. His heart will become hardened. And according to other narrations, it is makruh to eat meat twice in the same day. And it is recommended to only eat meat once every other day, so twice a week. So the effect of having lots of meat, constantly consuming meat, it hardens the heart of an individual. The hard heart of the individual, it stops that person from being able to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stops tears from falling. It stops them from being able to listen to any sort of advice, spiritual development advice, that inclination towards religiosity. But on the other side, being vegetarian is also not acceptable, because the narration continues. The one that refuses, or the one that does not eat meat for 40 days has done a great injustice to themselves, because they will become stubborn. One of the effects of that fully vegetarian diet and moving spiritually is that the person will become extremely stubborn. If someone could just tell those brothers at the back there, they're in full flow conversation. I hate to disrupt them, but they're distracting me. Could you come forward? Is that okay, you two brothers? Yeah, Bismillah. I just can't see you back there, you see. You'll have to, shuffling will take too long. Yeah, if you stand up and walk, it'll be great. So please recite salawat for these brothers. So the excessive consumption of meat, the excessive or the lack of meat, so there's a middle path. Then when we eat and the quantity that we eat, when we overeat, you see after iftar, when we overeat, then there is this laziness that is there. I don't want to do dua. I can't even sit on the floor. You know, this heaviness, it enters my body and I don't want to do dua. I want to get out of there as quick as possible. Forget dua iftitar, forget everyone. I need to get home because of the amount that I've eaten. And then that has a knock-on effect on my night ibadat. Then at night I can't pray Salatul Layl. I don't feel like praying. I don't feel like doing Quran. I just want to lay down and sleep because of the excessive amount of food that I have consumed. Certain times, I know if I eat foods outside of Shahr Ramadan, if I eat food at this time, I will end up becoming lethargic or tired. And so one needs to learn those and begin to avoid them so that they can start to develop this softness within themselves, because it is through this spirituality that this softness of the heart comes, this watching what I'm eating, when I'm eating, how I'm eating. All of these things will then have that effect upon me. So the food, when I'm eating, how I'm eating, the times I'm eating, the type of food that I'm eating, that all has an effect. The second thing is that when my personality, I make myself harsh. Yeah? Amir al-Mu'mineen, and this is the one that surprised me the most, he says that if you want to become halim, in lam takun haliman, if you want to be halim, fatahallam, then act like it. Act like it. Meaning what? This person isn't halim, isn't soft-hearted. So Imam is saying what? He says just act like you are. Not that, you know, you are, but act like it. If you act like it, then eventually that sifat will become part of your characteristics. Surround yourself with those people that are halim, and that will have an effect upon you as well. So if you want to be halim, and this applies to everything, you know, act on it, act on the zahir, the batin will unlock itself to you. If you focus on the zahir, you know, if I can't find the presence of heart in salah, then every time I stand to pray, I can't concentrate. My mind is going everywhere. So how is it that I need to concentrate? Do all the mustahabbat, you know, do all the zahiri things. Wear nice clothes, because my niyyah now is, I'm standing in front of Allah, wear nice clothes. Wear fragrance, as is mustahab to wear before praying. Wear a ring, the aqiq, especially the red aqiq, especially the one of Yemen, aqiq Yemeni, this is the mustahab ring to wear. Do adhan, do iqama, you understand all of these things. You understand that now all the malaika are joining your saf, are joining your jama'ah to pray behind you. When you do all of these zahiri things, then the batin of the salah will unlock itself for you. But if you don't give any respect to the zahiri things, then the batin will never unlock itself to you. The zahir of the words of the imam are one thing. The batin of the words of the imam are another thing. So if you look, for example, dua iftitah is going on. Dua iftitah, what is it? The words of Imam Zaman. Yes? We know. Dua iftitah is going on, and yesterday I was shocked to see that there were groups of people sitting in different pockets of the Husayniyah talking.
Yes.
These are the words of Imam Zaman. If I can't have any respect for the words of my Imam, then what hope do I have that the Imam is going to come and be my salvation? Dua iftitah are the words of the Imam. But if people are talking while the words of the Imam are being recited, what do you say about those people? What else can you say? When they can't respect the zahir of what the Imam is saying, then what batin do they hope to achieve? The zahiri action, even if you don't care about dua, even if you don't care about the masjid. You know, we had this whole thing, the masjid, the zahir of the masjid is makruh to do certain things in the masjid, makruh to do, you know, for example, eat or sleep or talk about worldly affairs, talk about anything. You know, when you're in these three lines, someone comes to ask you, how's your day going? Or how was work today? This is worldly affairs. It will remove 70 years worth of your a'mal from you. Move behind this pillar and talk about your worldly affairs. This is the masjid. Its maqam is different. But there are people that don't understand the maqam of the masjid or don't care about the maqam of the masjid. If you can't do it yourself, then at the very least don't stand against the thing. Leave the place. If the dua is being recited and you know you can't help yourself but speak within and you can't stay silent for 15 minutes, then just get up and leave. If you don't even have 15 minutes worth of respect for the Imam and for Allah, then leave. Then leave. Because these are the words of the Imam that are being recited. They're not the words of Nabil, or they're not the words of... It's the word of the Imam, the Hujjah of Allah. Which we see day in and day out, the words of the Imam are being recited, people unaware, sitting down talking. Either they've eaten too much so can't sit on the floor. Yeah? Those that can sit on the floor. So it's difficult now to sit on the floor and do dua. But when you respect the zahir of the words, then the batin will unlock itself for you. Look at someone like Unwan al-Basri. Unwan al-Basri is one of the companions of, he's not even a companion, he's not even a Shia. Unwan al-Basri, according to some, is not even a Shia. Comes to Imam al-Sadiq, 95 years old. 95 years old, he comes to Imam al-Sadiq, he says, give me some advice. And the Imam sent him away, then he comes back, there's a whole story. Anyway, when the Imam comes to him, Imam gives him the advice. This advice is so deep that Sayyid Ali Qadi Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh, the teacher of many of our modern Arafa, the teacher of Ayatollah Bahjat, Alamat Tabatabai, and all of these greats of Irfan, when he would tell his students, he would say that every day, or keep on you the hadith of Imam al-Sadiq to Unwan al-Basri, the advice. Now, what is it here? Unwan al-Basri doesn't understand the batin because he doesn't have the wilayat of Ahl al-Bayt. Imam has given him the zahir, but because he respected the zahir, he opened the batin. See, on the zahir he came as not a follower. So when the Shia of Ali Muhammad doesn't even respect the words of Ali Muhammad, then what hope is there? Because one would expect this from the enemies of Ahl al-Bayt. One would expect this from the non-Muslims, that the words of the Imam are being recited, the dua of the Imam is being recited, and I'm there talking. I'm in the middle of having a conversation, I'm talking about other things, while the words of the Imam are being said. This is not what is expected of the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt. So you have to do the zahiri thing. So when it comes to hilm, and to develop hilm within myself, what is required is straight away, I can't get it, I can't uncover it, to zahiran appear like I'm halim. So to appear, even though inside I may be really angry, but just to, within myself, to pretend like I'm not bothered. And so if I continue to pretend, then eventually that hilm will take root in my heart. When you give importance to salah, when you give importance to dua, then you will fall in love with these actions. But if you don't give it any importance, you won't fall in love with them. This is why when it comes to the aza of Sayyid al-Shuhada, they say, look, if you can't cry, then at least do tabaki, pretend. Yeah? Pretend. By pretend, what does it mean? I lower your head, pretend you're crying. Make a face like you are crying. And if you do that, knowing that who Imam al-Hussein is, عارفاً بحقه وجبت له الجنة. Jannah becomes wajib upon you. Why? Because even though you don't have the ma'rifah to do buka, you don't have the ma'rifah to cry, but you're just doing tabaki, your tabaki is showing, I still have a level of ma'rifah, I still have a level of respect for the Imam on the Zahir.
Zahir Imam Zamana Bulantar
So the Zahiri action is as important as the Batin. In fact, Islam is all about doing the Zahir first, the Batin comes after. Islam is first, then Iman comes. Many people say, oh no, when I get the Ma'rifah, then I'll start observing hijab. Or when I get Ma'rifah, I'll start growing the beard. When I get Ma'rifah, after I go to Hajj, I'll start praying. No, it doesn't work like that. Islam first, then Iman. Submit, then Iman comes. Iman doesn't come before Islam. Islam requires you to submit wholly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the commands of Allah and the A'imma alayhimus salam. And then after that, Ma'rifah comes and Iman comes. You can't have it without proving yourself first. One needs to prove themselves. So Hilm is that characteristic of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And we said, Ali Muhammad munta al-Hilm. That they have everything in their hands, but they just choose not to do it. I gave you the example of Ayatollah al-Naraqi and Sayyid Abul Hasan Isfahani yesterday. But they are just the sand grain. You know, as Amir al-Mu'mineen says to Kumail in the Hadith of Haqiqah, he says, what sprinkles in you overflows in me. What is that small droplets that are in you, Kumail, that give you the ma'rifah? I am the sea from where that ma'rifah comes. They are Mumta al-Hilm, the peak of Hilm. So Imam al-Hadi one day, the Mutawakkil Mal'un calls Imam. He takes him to the top of a hill and he gathers all his army, 90,000 of them, all of them with their army and their bow and arrow and everything. Mutawakkil Abbasi says to Imam al-Hadi, he says, this is my army. In order to show Imam al-Hadi, don't you dare do anything against us. This is my army, I can destroy you. Imam al-Hadi says, Mutawakkil, do you want to see our army? He says, look up. Imam al-Hadi gestures to the sky. And Mutawakkil says, I saw from east to west, there were angels that had filled every rank of the heavens, all of them with bows and arrows, and their arrows were pointed towards me. Mutawakkil, seeing this, he faints. He falls unconscious. When he comes around, he says to Imam al-Hadi, what was that? Imam says, this is our army. But we have no desire for your dunya. So we have no desire for it. Munta al-Hilm. Alhamdulillahi afwahi ba'da qudrati. Walhamdulillahi ala hilmihi ba'da ilmih. Allah has that ilm, but yet still has that hilm. Ali Muhammad have that ilm, have that qudra, but still they show that hilm. They're the true manifestation of that. So that was Hazrat Ibrahim. Today I want to look at a prophet whom isn't often looked at, and we won't be able to go into it. This particular prophet and this particular topic will maybe take us over 3 lectures. And that is the prophet whom 17 times his name has been mentioned in the Holy Quran, but we don't really know much about him. We don't have many hadith about him. Outside of the mention of the Holy Quran, there's a few hadith here and there. And that is Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam. Ishaq alayhi salam is the second son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Yeah? And the father of Yaqub and the grandfather of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. Ishaq alayhi salam is, his mother is Sarah. Ismail alayhi salam, his mother is Hajar. There's much more about Ishaq alayhi salam in the Torah. We don't trust the modern version of the Torah. And there is certain ikhtilaf. So for example, where we say Hazrat Ismail is Zabih Allah, the Jews say that it is Ishaq alayhi salam. Yeah? So, like I said, we don't know much about his life. But what I want to do is look at a particular ayah that references certain characteristics that he had and focus on one in the next, tomorrow and the day after, inshallah. And then we'll see how it goes. In Surah Sad, verse number 45, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاذْكُرْ عِبَادَنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ أُولِي الْأَيْدِي وَالْأَبْصَارِ. Says that, and call to mind, remember, our servants, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. All of them were endowed with strength and vision. So in the next 2 or 3 ayat, a number of characteristics are mentioned. Here first, ibadana, servants. Yeah? Second, they were endowed with strength, quwwah, physical quwwah. And absar, and vision, yani basira, to be able to see further into with every action. Inna akhlasnahum bi khalisatin dhikra ad-dar. And for verily we have purified them by means of thought, or by the remembrance of the day of judgment, of the life to come. And this is what we will focus on. Yawm al-Qiyamah. إنهم عندنا لمن المصطفين والأخيار. المصطفين والأخيار. And they surely from us are chosen, and they are the best of people. 4 or 5 characteristics, but one of the main characteristic that we want to focus on is the endowment of the knowledge of the Akhirah. Could you just have a word with them? Allow the salawat so they realize. So, the one characteristic that we want to focus on Hazrat Ishaq is this knowledge of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And I want to look specifically about the certain signs for Yawm al-Qiyamah. Because the day of judgment, when you look at Surah Al-Hajj, verse number 1, it says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّ زَلْزَلَةَ السَّاعَةِ شَيْءٌ عَظِيمٌ. It says, O people, fear your Lord. Surely the zalzala, the earthquake, the violence of that hour is surely a grievous thing. يَوْمَ تَرَوْنَهُ تَذْهَلُ كُلُّ مُرْضَعَةٍ عَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتٍ حَمَلٍ حَمَلَهَا وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِالسُّكَارَى. Says that, and on that day you will see every woman that is feeding her child throw down her suckling child and run away from it. And you will see every pregnant lady that is with child abort the child, miscarry that child. And you shall see men who appear intoxicated. وَمَا هُمْ بِالسُّكَارَى. But they're not intoxicated, they're not drunk. وَلَكِنَّ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. But they're seeing the adhab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're seeing the punishment of God unfolding in front of their eyes. And there upon their faces, having just woken up from the graves, they're confused, they're staggering about, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. وَمَا هُمْ بِالسُّكَارَى. They're not drunk. The day of judgment is a day of great fear, where a mother who is suckling her child shall throw the child to the ground. Everyone is worried about themselves. What is the 4th Imam in Dua Abu Hamza Thumadi, what does he say? Says, انظر مرة عن يميني وأخرى عن شمالي إذا الخلائق شأن غير شأني. Says that I will look to my left and look to my right, and people will be concerned about themselves. No one will be concerned about me. No one will be concerned about me. everyone will be worried about themselves. On that day, it will be a day of such fear that the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Anbiya, says, فَإِذَا هِيَ شَاخِصَةُ أَبْصَارٍ. It is as if when you look at them, their eyes are popping out from their heads, out of shock of what it is that they're seeing around them. Absolute shock has overcome them, and their eyes will be so wide, it will seem like their eyeballs are about to pop out from their eyes. So this is that day.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها